Hey, this is Notser, and this is the review for the Tier 8 Premium British Battleship Vanguard. So the Vanguard, the review is finally here, and the ship is worth it. This is a great experience. It is so unique compared to so many other battleships, and it was a playstyle that I was hoping Wargaming would get to, be able to introduce it to the game. It's finally here. It is wonderful. The build is on the screen that I use in the game. As far as a recommended build, though, the modules absolutely wouldn't change. Yes, I do use rudder shift on this, and I will talk about why. For the commander, since it's premium, I can just switch in my, best skilled commander. This is a 19-point Jack Dunkirk. So it has enhanced Jack of all trades, expert marksman. It's my Conqueror commander. It's fantastic for this. And you know what? I wouldn't really change any skill. And already you're seeing a nice trait of the ship. So the Vanguard. Why do I like it? Well, what I like about it is the turret traverse, 36 seconds base, the rate of fire, 25 seconds. I also really enjoy the rudder shift. Now, the astute observer might have noticed that the rudder shift base is 9.7 seconds. That is outstanding. That is the best-in-class battleship rudder shift. I can't think of a single battleship that has better rudder shift base. And then on top of that, when I enhance the rudder shift further, it goes down to 7.8 seconds, which it is in this game. This allows you to operate very much like a cruiser. Your turrets traverse so quickly, and since I have Jack Dunkirk, 30-second turret traversal, that they can keep up even if I'm actively maneuvering against the grain. I love that this is honestly the first battleship that has felt capable of doing that and had the accuracy that you can make full use of it across the map, against enemy DDs, against enemy battleships on the other side of the map. It's a wonderful experience. It's a real pleasure. And I could not say that with a straight face on the initial version. The initial version had the tallest citadel in the game, super slow turret traverse, I think it was like 45 or 50 seconds. It had less accurate guns, had slow rate of fire. You name it, the rudder was slower. Everything was worse about it. The turn radius was bugged. It was turning at a radius of, I think, 1,200 meters rather than 850. But we've got that 850 meter turn radius. We have a 7.8 second rudder, 30 knots in the water. That's not including the signal flag for speed. The rate of fire, 25 seconds, 381 millimeter gun. It has great high explosive, 34% high explosive fire chance. The AP, super solid. The AA protection is actually outstanding defensively. You'll see in this game multiple enemy attacks from the Tier 9 aircraft carrier, and he's going to feel disappointed. So just everything coupled together. You can maneuver, protect yourself from incoming shells and aircraft actively, but still have your guns traversing onto the target without any drop in your ability to engage the target. You can go against the grain, you can go with the grain. It doesn't matter. It works very well. I'm just so ecstatic by it. Now, one aspect of the ship that does feel a little mediocre is its consistent damage per minute. Its consistent damage per minute is on the low side. It is only 8 guns, and they are small gun caliber. But that doesn't mean you can't rack up consistent good damage. You just need to be active in switching your ammo based on the target to really take full advantage of any and all scenario. And that, once again, feels very cruiser-esque, right? You have to consider which shell you want to load in the gun. That's why the expert loader honestly feels very good in this particular design, because you always have the right ammo, right? The right ammo to deal with the problem at hand. But the shells are consistent, much more than they were in the first iteration. They seem to stick in the ship more than something like the Roma. That was one comparison that I was drawing up as I was playing this. Boy, the turret traverse, boy, the gun caliber, it feels very Roma-esque. And it is Roma-esque in that instance, but its rudder is way better. Its high explosive is way better. Its default range is better. It just feels more like what I was hoping the Roma could be. With that sort of active turret traversal, the rudder shift, all that coupled together, it's just a great big battle cruiser. And I want a line dedicated to that. This is something that has sparked an interest in playing it. I will say, though, it is definitely a higher skill requirement to actively mitigate incoming rounds than for you to rely more on your armor. The Citadel is low, so at medium to long range, it'll be very difficult for the enemy to find it. But at close range, it is child's play. It is very easy to be punished at point blank. Very easy. I've seen easily Jean-Bar just dump 4 to 5 shells all in my Citadel and one-shot me. That's definitely something you need to consider. It's not quite as bad as something like the Musashi or Yamato, but it's still very punishable. Good players will definitely recognize how to deal with it. And as you can see, very consistent accuracy. It's everything that I had hoped that they would move towards for something like the Bismarck, but they never did because the secondaries were more effective. And if that's the reason why they never did that, and they want sort of a dedicated line, maybe this is the first step to getting that dedicated, highly accurate, fast maneuvering battleship that we all so crave, at least people like me, who just really enjoy the maneuvering aspect of the game, where it's not something where the target can instantly counter what you're trying to do against them. It takes time. It takes time to develop the protection, the scheme that you're looking for in order to deal with enemy DDs, enemy battleships, enemy cruisers, but this really has no issue with that because the maneuvering is so outstanding. Torpedoes, getting guns on target, actively maneuvering against enemy aircraft, it all just feels really great. And it's just a real pleasure to control. And if no other reason you're thinking about buying this ship, if this sounds like something that is you're craving, that you felt like you were missing in the game, this ship fulfills that experience that we've all dreamed of. That battleship that is not afraid to move forward because it has the ability to be nimble, close enough to great threat. And it doesn't rely on something like hydroacoustic to cover up that lack of mobility. It has the mobility in spades. And you know what? I don't really have anything else to say about it. It has consistency in its guns. They are on the lower side of damage output. It is big. It is punishable. So it doesn't have an immunity to citadels. But its heal is much better than the default. It does heal some of your citadel because it's British, you know. The British heal is just so wonderful in that regard because it allows so much more recovery than a base heal would. Now, it is a different type of heal, whereas something like the Massachusetts, it excels partially because its heal has such a rapid cooldown rate, right? But it still has to rely on a small amount of healing. This is more a typical low, slow heal, but each heal is very impactful. And you feel that. You feel very difficult to deal with. I've showed multiple battles at this point of the Vanguard where I'm actively maneuvering, and it's just hell for the enemy. It's absolutely hell. And I love it. I love this. I love that this enemy aircraft carrier is trying his best to get around, but look at me, I'm able to turn it so tight and compensate for that. This torpedo is not an issue at all, and that's really only what cruisers could hope to do previously. But now you have that in the Vanguard. It's just a really fun experience, and you know what? I know that there's a Shimakaze in this area. I'm not too worried. We have a friendly aircraft carrier that's spotting torpedoes. I also have the ability to dip in and out to avoid incoming torpedoes. And look at all the danger. And yet I can easily have the ship maneuver through the threat. And we take a ton of damage from torps, and an enemy air Lion was able to just dump a ton of damage into us. But you know, it's not that big a deal. He's going to take torpedoes. Friendly Minotaur is going to take out the Shimakaze, potentially get a double strike, and the game's basically going to be over. And look at my turrets. They're rotating back and forth, trying to compensate. I would love to engage the Shima, but I know that there is an enemy DD, the Terrible, that is south of my position, keeping me spotted. The concealment is not as good as it used to be, but it's still outstanding. 12-kilometer range on a ship like this. It's great. There's no issue there. So I'm just really excited about this gameplay that the Vanguard is offering. It's just something I really haven't seen before, and I love that. I just wish that premium tier 8s didn't have to deal with so many tier 10s in the queue. That's my one reservation on recommending this ship. You're gonna see a lot of tier 10s, and it doesn't have good DPM at tier 8. It gives up to tier 10 a bunch. But that maneuvering, just, it's a real pleasure to control. Just very, very nimble, very, very active in combat, and I really love that. I hope that this was cool for you to see. Obviously, we're top on the team, and we shot down a ton of aircraft. Tell me what you think. I hope this is useful. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.